howdy, Butts and Books fans. This is Scorp1701, and I am currently at the Fandemic tour in Atlanta, Georgia. And there is a lot of stuff going on here. There are booths, there are celebrities, there are cars that say Lucille. Oh, anyway, there's a lot of folks here. I'll be posting more pictures, and it'll be a great time and experience. I'm glad everybody is getting back out and enjoying a little bit of fun this weekend. All right, guys, I will see you later this evening. Bye. And what a fun-filled day it was. I am telling you, the Atlanta Fandemic tour was awesome. There was so much to do down in Atlanta today. I was so exhausted by the time I got home, but I still wanted to put together this little video and tell you all about my day. And of course, when I went down there, I didn't go by myself. No one should enjoy this stuff all by themselves. My good buddy Watson came with me. And, of course, Watson is not his real name. Neither is my real name, Scorp1701. But that's beside the point. What is the point is we had a great time down there. And the Fandemic tour was full of vendors and shops. And it was great. Everywhere you went, there was something to sell. Like this one shop, they had Pyramid Head mask. This is Pyramid Head from Silent Hill 2. One of the best Silent Hill games ever. Had a whole bunch of other masks in there. And there were vendors selling thousands and thousands of pops. Found this one little kiosk that was selling 3D printed light switches, and they had everything from the Millennium Falcon to a Batman that you could, the silhouetted Batman looked really cool until I realized what might be particularly funny about having a light switch in that position. But anyway, I'll let you guys look at that if you're so inclined. And some vendors sold awesome merchandise like Disney backpacks and these awesome little figurines. They looked really, really nice. I did find a Maleficent in there for Queen Bravo, but it was like $200 or something, and that was a little out of my price range. But I did take this picture and I showed it to her, and she thought it was pretty nice. But what I thought was really cool with Maleficent was this awesome Stitch dressed as Maleficent. This was great. And whereas I love Stitch, my wife, Queen Bravo, cannot stand him. And I sent this picture to her. I said, "Look what I found for you." She's like, no, this is not coming in the house. And if you buy this for me, I'm going to stab it into your tires. She actually did say that. Okay. So needless to say, I left this where I found it. But speaking of Stitch, there was this entire booth full of Stitch stuff. Everything in there was Stitch. You had paintings and drawings and figures and plushies and posters. Oh, if you loved Stitch, which I love Stitch, this was the kiosk for me. I'm surprised I didn't buy anything. Of course, by the time I found it, I was probably out of money. Conventions really eat up the money. But anyway, this was really nice. All the Stitch merchandise there. And in one of the booths, I found all these awesome swords. Now, before you get your heckles up, don't worry. The Sword of Omens is not bigger than the He-Man Power Sword. It's just the way it's positioned on the rack. The Sword of Omens is just slightly higher on the rack than the Power Sword, and if you brought them both down, they would be equally sized. So, not saying that the Sword of Omens is better than the Power Sword in any way, but I will say it. No. Alright, and then there were some other swords, some Lord of the Rings swords that were really cool. So, a lot of neat stuff in that display. But one of my favorite booths that I found was from this little company called Geekify. And Geekify is housed out of Boulder, Colorado. And they sell books as well as a few other things. But the books is mostly what caught my eye. They have this awesome leather-bound, never-ending storybook that looks exactly like the one in the movie. It had a nice oran and some ornate corners glued onto the front of the book. The book was very nicely done. Had the two different types of lettering, the red and the green, so you could tell which part of the story you're in, whether in your real world or Fantasia or whatever it is called. Not really called Fantasia in the book, but they didn't just have the never-ending story. They had The Princess Bride, which is really nicely done book, The Hobbit, And beside it, which I didn't get a picture of, was the Lord of the Rings. They had the Necronomicon. They had the book from Hocus Pocus. And they had a slew of other types of books that you may recognize from other movies and works of literature. And a couple other things. So that was really cool. And I really liked the people there. They were very nice and courteous. And if you're looking to get in touch with them or to see what they got, you can check them out online at geekifyinc.com. So I recommend them. They are really cool, got some cool stuff. Alright, moving on. They also had a few reptiles down there. There's some snakes and such, but the one I took most notice of was this awesome leopard tortoise. And he was huge. He was in this little enclosure. And I went around to the front and I saw him. Oh, this guy was big. He looked like he had pyramids on the back of his shell. And he was all old and wrinkly looking. So yeah, I decided to pet him a little bit and then leave him alone. Another of the great things down there were the people in costumes. They had cosplay and they had contests. And I saw a lot of great costumes. And a few of those are going to be here. You got... I think this is going to be Coraline, and I don't know who the box head is, but I thought the box head costume looked really neat, so hey, it's kind of a simple design. There may be an actual character that goes along with it, I'm just not familiar with it. Met a guy dressed as Thanos, that was really good. Had an Infinity Gauntlet, and he had his like double-bladed sword, and the mask was actually just a latex mask, and his mouth didn't move or anything, but still, I thought it was a great-looking costume. A bit of an obscure costume was this King Joffrey Joffre from the Zamunda, and this is from Coming to America, played by James Earl Jones. And when I saw this guy, I ran up to him and I said, "Oh my goodness, it is you! It is you!" And, you know, now technically it didn't really fit because the guy did that to Prince Akeem, the Eddie Murphy character, but still, best I could do on the spur of the moment, and the guy laughed and he thought it was great, and he, you know, told me I didn't have to bow and get up before I smelt my beverages. Had an awesome Blade cosplayer I saw, and he was good. Had hair and the glasses, and I loved that vest. He was pretty neat. And there's this Loki guy, probably President Loki kind of there in the background sneaking into the picture. I didn't mind that at all. That was pretty funny. And I found a nice lady in a Storm costume. She was kind enough to get me a picture, and she was like, "You want a picture with me or of me?" And I'm like, "Well, I would not presume, ma'am. I think a picture of you would be just great." Don't want Queen Bravo to get any bad ideas, since she won't let me go to cons anymore. One of the funniest and kind of creative costumes I saw at the Comic-Con was this Michael Myers, and you can see he's kind of peeking out behind a bush, and it's on like a little white platform there. Now what this was that platform was movable. It was about 4 feet across, and he would just roll that all around the convention floor, and when he'd get to a certain spot, he would stop, and then he'd peek out from the side like he's doing there. It was so funny and great. So eventually I caught up with him, and I took a picture of him, and then he let me take a picture of his full outfit, and that was really cool. Michael Myers, big draw. A lot of the Michael Myers stuff down at the con, a lot of horror stuff. Freddy Krueger, Jason, you know, the standard kings of horror. I found this guy in a Captain America costume. It was awesome, very movie-esque. More of, I don't know if it's Age of Ultron, I think, because I think it's when he got the red and the A on his shoulder pad, but I'm not exactly sure. Either way, this was an awesome costume. He was good enough to let me take a picture of him. And I found a Batman and Harley Quinn running around there. Now, that was an interesting choice, and, you know, I warned Harley that Joker probably wouldn't appreciate that, and, well, Batman's response was, yeah, grimace look, and I'm gonna put my fist to your face. I'm like, ah! So, no, this was a great pair. When they came in, I chased them down a little bit and asked to get their picture, so it was really nice. But my favorite costume that I saw down at the con today had to be the Mandalorian in Beskar armor. This guy was decked out. This costume looked so authentic, and he had everything, and the armor, the cape, the rifle. He even had a little toy Grogu, the gloves, the boots, the panels, everything. This was an awesome cosplay. So hopefully he won. He would have got my vote, but yeah, that was the best costume in my opinion. Anyway, that was that. And the last thing I guess you guys want to hear about, or I want to talk about, is the awesome celebrities that were down there. And the first celebrity I got to meet and take a picture with was the awesome Bruce Campbell. And if you don't know who Bruce Campbell is, he is a master comedian. I love all the stuff that he does. And it's kind of a dark comedy and humor. He was the main star of the Evil Dead movies, Evil Dead 2, and Army of Darkness. Army of Darkness being my favorite. And then they did the Evil Dead series. And he was in all the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, because whenever Sam Raimi makes a movie, I don't know, I guess they got some contract, because Bruce Campbell always has to be in it. Not that that's a bad thing. I love Bruce Campbell. This is the second time I was able to meet Bruce Campbell, and he was great, very funny, very kind. And then a little later in the day, we got to meet Carrie Ellis, played Wesley in The Princess Bride. He also played Dr. Morgan in Saw, and he's done a whole bunch of other things. Interesting thing about this particular photo op was Carrie Ellis wanted to be as safe as possible, so there was actually a piece of plexiglass between me and him. I don't know if you could really see it. My poor buddy Watson had his eyes kind of halfway open, but I told him I would fix everything that's wrong with this picture in editing session, and the picture went from this to this, so it looks like Carrie Ellis is closer, and my buddy Watson has his eyes wide open. And, well, you know, he may say it looks a little strange, but I think I did a great job editing this picture. And that was it for meeting Carrie Ellis. Now, the thing about these photo ops is you don't get really a chance to talk to the people. You just come in, hey, how you doing? Good to see you. Hey, let's take this picture. Boom, when you're out. So it's less than like 15 seconds. But if you really want to talk to the celebrity, buy an autograph from their actual booth and table, and that you can go up to them and you can talk to them, and they will talk to you for about 4 or 5 minutes and then sign whatever it is that you want them to sign, or you can take a selfie with them. So that usually runs, depending on how popular they are or how much they're charging, somewhere between $80 or $90, and that's for both. Some will charge more and some will charge less, but you know, it's meeting a celebrity. So if you like that kind of thing, I would suggest saving your money. Like I said before, you're going to spend a lot of money if you go to conventions. One of my favorite people I got to meet at the convention was the legendary Jim Cumming, and he was great. I love talking to this man. He was the voice of Winnie the Pooh for the last few decades, and he was also one of the best Disney characters ever, Darkwing Duck! Yeah! And I paid the $90, and I got a picture with him, and I also got him to sign my Darkwing Duck pop, and he did an awesome job. He actually gave me 2 signatures, sort of. The first was on the front of the box. It says, "Stay dangerous, DW." So he actually signed as the character, and on the side of the window box he signed his name, Jim Cummings, and that was awesome. I had a great time talking to him, and I was the last person he got to see because he had to really rush out of there by the time I got to him, but I am so thankful that he did make the time and he stayed around, because he was one of the biggest reasons I wanted to go to this Fandemic tour con thing. Another celebrity I got to meet and I was very excited to meet was Dean Cain, one of my favorite Supermen of the silver screen, and I told him that I thought his costume was one of the best that they've ever put out on the TV, and probably one of the better ones they even put out in the movies. I loved this man's costume. He did a very good job as Superman, and as my buddy Watson remarked, he actually was very distinctive between Clark Kent and Superman, to the point where you could actually tell that he was doing 2 different characters. And I told him that, and he seemed to enjoy that compliment. Also, I told him he could still do Superman. I don't care how old he was. So it was a pleasure meeting Dean Cain, and I enjoyed that immensely. And wrapping up my celebrity experience for the day, the last person that we got to visit with was James Marsters. And James Marsters played none other than William the Bloody, or as he's better known, Spike, in the Buffy and Angel series. And this was a great picture, I think. And he was very kind and generous. And again, this was just a photo op, so I didn't have a lot of time with him. But he seemed like a great guy, and because I passed by his booth a few times, and he was joking around with the fans and just having a good old time, and that's really what I like to see. And it was really great meeting him. And so that was about the extent of my Fandemic tour experience, and this was really great. And if you're thinking of going and it's still Sunday the 20th, you can go. And that's pretty much all I have to say about the Fandemic Con. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you saw some interesting things. I know I did. And until next time, keep playing.